Is that who it is? Okay. Voltron Dante, and they are sitting out there biting their fingernails. No, I'm kidding. They presented a plan where there would be a lot of affordable housing. They actually built and worked on the project at 7th and P called the Hodge. And they are looking to put workforce housing in so that teachers, firefighters, and police would also get the opportunity for some of the housing, as well as it to be, that would be low-income housing, correct? Yeah, okay. They also agreed to commit to the community a fund that would allow different activities and different things to happen throughout the community. And some of the things that were suggested were the Perry School, the Boys and Girls Club, things like that. And if you win the award, we'd like to sit down and talk to you about setting up a collaborated benefits program account so that it's all done on the up and nobody is getting special treatment. So that was the second of the three. The last of the three was the Argos group, and they presented also affordable housing with a play area for children and a dog run and ground floor retail. I forget what the retail is now.
No, they're having a job development.
I'm sorry, there was a food service group which would be made up of major chefs who would come, they would have a training school there for chef prospects, people who would love to be in that business and learn from the best. So that was the third option. So DEMPED, the Mayor's Department for Planning, has asked us to rank the three projects and to notify them which one we feel is best suited for our community. So let's start with Rochelle. You want to make a comment?
Well, this is kind of hard, so for this, but I will say my overall preferred choice is the Argos Group one, and that is because of I like the what they call the job training opportunity, because if it does work, there's like we go with these presentations. There's always a high hope that all these proposals do work, but if this proposal does work, it'll continually to give back to the community. I like the design of the building. I like that there is mixed housing, including very low income. And then number 2 would be the Voltron group, and then number 3 would be the Thurgood Marshall project.
Thank you so much. Antonio.
Well, my concerns was on this lot was parking, of course, because the parking, it would be a really, really hard situation. So, I'm sorry. It was a real hard decision to make, and my main choice was Argos, even though the parking is the main the part that kind of caught me, because I was like, hold on, that means we're going to add more parking problems to this area, which is going to start growing very soon. So Argos was
That was your first choice?
my first choice.
Okay, so what are your other choices? Who's second and who's third?
Then it would be Thurgood Marshall, and then the last one.
And then Voltron.
Yes.
Okay. I found this really difficult to choose. I thought long and hard and really, really feel all three of them would be an asset in our community. But my choice, and one of the things that I feel very strongly about, is that benefits for the community don't necessarily have to be money. They can be parks and playgrounds and that kind of thing. So my first choice would be Argos. And I like the fact that they're going to have a built-in dog run and dog park and a playground for the children, and that they will maintain it for a number of years, which is really even more important. I like the idea of the net zero electric power sources. And if you've watched the news tonight, our mayor is talking about millions and millions of dollars and solar panels going onto district buildings to lower electrical costs. I don't know if the net zero thing is working everywhere. I'd like to get even more information if they win the bid. But I support trying to lower costs for people who live in DC through any means that we can do it. And my last choice would be Voltron. Would be the dormitory project. I have doubts.
Wait, what's your second?
What did I say? Argos is my first choice, then Voltron, and then the Thurgood Marshall project. I just have a feeling that it will become a dormitory for Howard University and no one else would be really included. So I have a kind of a problem with that. I would like to have seen more of a piece of information of how they were going to distribute all of this. Although I think it's a good idea to have the Thurgood Marshall College Fund there. I'm impressed with that idea, and it's so different than anything else we've seen in a while. But I am really struggling because I really would like to see policemen and teachers and firefighters and working force people be able to get housing and be able to afford to live in the district. I'm always moaning and groaning when I call somebody and say, oh, you must live in Maryland, you don't really care, you just come in, do your job, and then go home. I'd like to see these folks have the opportunity to live within the district. So those would be my choices.
So I would like to report out that when the Zoning and Planning Committee heard the presentations from the applicants, there was a deadlock in terms of the preferences. Both the Argos and the Voltron presentations each received 2 votes for first place, if you will. So they were tied for first, and then the Thurgood Marshall College Fund project came in third. So also very important, none of these proposals have any additional number of parking spaces over the others. There's absolute minimal parking. They're going to need parking relief in order to be able to build anything there because it's a very unusually triangular lot that's actually even constrained further than the parcel. If you just look at the site today, there's even a smaller amount that's actually developable. So all that having been said, the Voltron Partners team gets my recommendation for first place because of their experience in delivering workforce housing and affordable housing. As Marge mentioned, they were responsible for the Hodge, which has a 500-person waiting list to be able to get into the building because it's so popular. They're also doing the Phillips Wheatley YWCA renovation. And their commitment to the community benefits and to the workforce housing segment was particularly notable. My second choice is the Thurgood Marshall College Fund project, even though they weren't very clear about how they were going to be selecting the graduate students and interns that were going to be coming from across the country. And we're going to be accommodated there. They're also going to put office space for the Thurgood Marshall Fund in the building as well. There was a lot of positive aspects related to that. And on the Argos bid, there were just too many unanswered questions, there was just too much lack of information about where the particular technologies and concept that they were talking about doing had been successfully done. Apparently there may be some on the West Coast that had been completed. There are none on the East Coast, so there weren't any immediately comparable examples that we could look at. And then the question was raised as to what happens when the technology changes. Are the residents going to be responsible for having to pay for those upgrades in technology to be able to have that benefit of having minimal or zero utilities continue to be the case, and there just weren't enough answers there.
After thinking about this vote,
feel as though DC, living in DC, the cost of living in DC is increasing day by day, year by year. Many people know who are familiar with the residential or the rental side of business, they understand that DC is getting more and more like New York as it relates to cost of living. Voltron actually offers more affordable housing than Argos. Voltron offers 72 units of affordable housing, where Argos offers 28 units. The cost of living in DC for an efficiency can be $1,700 to $2,000 a month. I know a great deal of people who live in, who roommate just to be able to afford to live in the city. That is quite common in downtown DC. So my vote is for Voltron, number one. Argos, I like Argos in that it also has one feature I like that they have mentioned, I believe, is the solar panels that help to reduce the cost of living for those who do live in that facility. And then Thurgood, so Voltron, Argos, and Thurgood.
Everything has been said, so I will Argo.
Argos is your first choice?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you have a second choice?
The second choice is the Thurgood.
Thurgood Marshall?
Mhm.
Okay, and then Voltron.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. So it looks at this moment like there are 4 first choices for Argos, 2 for Voltron. Second choice looks like 1, 2 for Voltron, 3 for Thurgood Marshall, and 1 for Argos. And then in third place, it would be 3 for Thurgood, 2 for Volton, and 1 for Argos. So it looks like at the present time, the first choice would be Argos. Our second choice would be Thurgood Marshall, and our third,
I think there's expressed some confusion. Were you trying to say that Voltron, that you were trying to vote for number 1?
She just voted for Argos.
that's number 3 or 2. You chose Argos as the first one. Thurgood Marshall, the dormitory setting, for the second choice, and Voltron, which is the one in the blue folder in your hand, as the third choice.
This is my
Okay.
So Voltron is your first choice.
That would make it a tie.
So Frida, could you give us just why you want each one of those? I guess, because we heard you just vote for Argos.
I'm affordable.
Well, they both have affordable
Both have
housing.
affordable housing, it's just which one of the projects appeals to you more. And that's just a choice you have to, make. One is gonna offer community benefits in a monetary form, and the other one is doing it in a, playground and dog park kind of.
Job
setting.
training.
Job training.
Site.
So, but I do need you to pick.
Okay, so you're saying Voltron is your first
So
choice.
let her speak, Alex. Let her, it's in her area.
I prefer Dante's.
That's your first choice? Okay. So it is a tie
So
then.
the second choice is Argos or Thurgood Marshall?
Thurgood Marshall.
Be second, and Argos be third.
Okay, that means for the developers who are here, it is a split in half tie, 3 for Argos and 3 for Voltron. So that's what we will submit to DEMPET, and we'll see where it goes from there. Good luck to all of you.
So we need to make a motion.
Making a motion that we give our vote results to the DEMPET office in the Office of Planning to be number 1 recommendation, a tie between Argos and Voltron. And we we send that over to DEMPED and let them make the final decision on that. I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Everybody is in favor? No opposition? Okey-doke. Sursum Quarter. Are you guys here tonight?
Yes.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
Hey, how are you this
How are
evening?
you?
Let's shoot for 10 minutes and see how long over we go over that.
Sure.
Okay.
I will just give the ANC an update on what has transpired from the last time we came before this body in October, where we basically gave an informational presentation about the project. I'm sorry, my name is Lila Batiste with Holland and Knight. I'm joined by my colleague, Chip Glasgow, and Ronnie Durham, the president of the board for the Sursum Quarter Co-op. We have a team of people here who who in the interest of time, I will not introduce all of them. But since we were before this body in October, since that time, we have had very productive meetings with Director Todman of the DC Housing Authority, as well as representatives from HUD. We also had a second meeting with the Housing Authority through Mr. Ronald McCoy, who is the director of the voucher program, because we really wanted to nail down, at the request of the commission and members in the audience, the process for the voucher conversion process. After those two meetings, we met with the members of Sursum Quarter at their regularly scheduled meeting. And at that meeting, we included presentations from Aaron O'Toole, who is the affordable housing attorney for Sursum Quarter, and is here this evening. There he is. The meeting was also attended by the Housing Authority representatives, HUD representatives, as well as Housing Opportunities Unlimited, who would be charged with helping with the human capital piece of the relocation and return of Sursum Quarter units. So through all of that, we've also, and I think you may have received this electronically, but just in case you didn't, we provided handouts to all of the members there that detailed the voucher conversion process, the relocation process, and the opportunities that will be provided to return to the project once the site is redeveloped. And we've also set up a website as recommended by someone in the audience at the last ANC meeting. But going through all of those meetings, meeting with the Housing Authority and HUD officials was very useful, because what we've learned through all of those discussions is that of the 138 households that are in Sursum Quarter now, 124 will be eligible for vouchers. The vouchers are available for households with incomes up to 80% AMI. We've learned that 7 exceed the affordability or the income levels, and 7 are still in them. We're still working through the process of getting the income information for 7 households before we can determine whether or not they'll be eligible. But as we noted in our last meeting, regardless of whether or not they qualify for vouchers, all households at Sursum Quarter presently will have the opportunity to return to the redeveloped site in the first phase of the development. The application, the zoning application was set down by the Zoning Commission on November 9th. We submitted a pre-hearing statement, and the application is now scheduled for public hearing on February 11th of 2016. And so we are here today as a follow-up to our meeting with the Planning and Zoning Committee last week, asking the ANC support for our project and a recommendation to the Commission for approval of the application. That's all that I have in terms of an overview of where the project is. Our entire team is here to give a presentation on any aspect of the project that the Commission is interested in or wants additional information on. So I'll stop there.
Okay.
Go ahead, dude.
Okay, how you all doing? This is in my single member district, and of course, we have been in many meetings together. We have went over it over and again. Me and Mr. Dorn even had a pop-up meeting this just a while ago before I came here. And it was about things pertaining to the head of households and you know, the family requirements and different things like that. So, and I was present at the when HOU was available, and HUD was there, and of course we nailed that down to the path. And I should I make my motion? Should I make my motion?
Well, before you do that, let me just say. These folks came before the zoning committee last week, and they asked for a variance in order to close off one of the roads so they could actually, it's a cul-de-sac kind of road, and it needed to be closed off so construction could actually begin to happen without disturbing or upsetting everybody around in all the different neighborhoods. And the committee looked at this plan and heard the same spiel you're getting tonight, and we all on the committee voted to support the variance that they need to get started. So you can make a motion.
Okay. So I make a motion that ANC 6E supports Certain Quarters first stage PUD process and send it to the
Street closing now.
oh yeah, I'm sorry, in the street
Closing application.
application for Pierce Street. It's Pierce
No.
Street.
No,
It's for the, it's
Oh, I'm
okay,
sorry.
you don't have to, you
Oh,
don't have
sorry.
to name it. You don't have to name the street, but you're doing really well.
Okay.
And we also approve and support the community benefits agreement, benefits package.
What's in the community benefits package?
Well,
I mean, is it on here?
I believe it's about a $400,000 community benefit package. It goes to a lot of different people, and I don't know off the top of my head remember everybody. Lonnie, somebody, you want to?
I have the list, but it really has not changed since we've submitted it
Originally.
to this commission in October. We did add the library, the Friends group for the Northwest One Library, and we also added the Terrell Rec Center. But I can quickly, Commissioner Nagle, if it will help you, go down the list. Contribution to the Boys and Girls Club, number 2, in the amount of $250,000 to support the operation of its programs. Contribution to the Perry School Community Service Center in the amount of $60,000. Contribution to the Walker Jones Parent Teacher Association in the amount of $25,000. Contribution of $15,000 to the Girls in Action at the Sursum Corda Youth Center. Contribution to the Dunbar High School Parent Teacher Association in the amount of $25,000. Donation of equipment and uniforms valued at $10,000 for the Terrell Rec Center, and then $15,000 to support programming at the Northwest One Library. Those are the neighborhood contribution. Of course, the PUD has a number of other project benefits and amenities, the largest of which is the affordable housing component.
So let me ask you this, so the Boys and Girls Club, why are they given such a significant amount of money?
Well, a number of the people that live at Sursum Corda right now are actually frequent the Boys and Girls Club. It is one of the few kind of resources in the neighborhood that is directly supports the people that live in the Sursum Corda. And I think one of the things we wanted to make sure of with this benefits and amenities package is that it actually impacted, affected or went to the people that are most impacted by the redevelopment.
Can those numbers be changed, or are those locked in stone, or is that?
Yeah, that was my
I mean, it just seems like that is quite lopsided, so.
Well, I know that I mentioned at the committee meeting to Lonnie, I'd like to see some other things included and change those numbers up and down a little bit, but we have not had the opportunity to even have a conversation about it.
We can have a conversation. That number is very important because, as you know, Greater Washington closed the Boys Club 2 years ago. And as you know, back then, it was a lot of shooting at the Tyler House from the nightclub. And some of those were certain quarter families that got shot. And then we opened it up to all the neighborhoods. And as you know, there's a lot of gangs between Bippino, Sursum Quarter, Florida Avenue, So we have a lot of work to do in that club. And just opening a club, it takes money to do and run the club. And my thing is, all this will impact the whole neighborhood. And even cross on the other side of the borders, Noma, Mount Vernon, because a lot of things happen in those neighborhoods that everybody always come back to that one area. So my thing is, I'm in a position to actually help and change lives. I do it every day, but this can be a point of actually having a program that was closed due to money issues. So I don't want to have the club closed and knowing I can have an impact of keeping it open.
So I mean, that's a separate conversation to see what sort of operating funds that the club has, but it just is a little bit so lopsided. And if you need that significant amount of money from a housing development, there's some operating funds. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I was going to suggest, and I think I started to say it at our meeting last week, but I would bring it up and present it here. I'd like to see a community collaborative benefit advisory board be set up, and that the money go into an account that is controlled by the members of that board, and it would be, you know, somebody, Lonnie and everybody else who needs to be on it, but community members from all over the 6E community could come in. Perhaps Shiloh Baptist Church needs something for the daycare center, or
Suggest something so far away.
Can I?
no, I'm not. I'm just saying there are other people within the community that might have some of the need that that is there. I mean, this is a 6E project. It's not. It could affect other people in other areas of our ANC, and I think $400,000 is a lot of money to be. I mean, I'm going to say this, and I'll probably regret this, but there's been mismanagement of money in Sursum Quarter, or we wouldn't be in this position in the first place to have to be having people move out and do certain things that just handing the money back over to the same people doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think it needs to be an advisory board that is not affected, and that there be qualifications and things that are set up and in place, so that as you're saying, you know, maybe they do end up with 200,000, but they'll come in increments and get, I need 50,000 for this, and this, and provide receipts, and then once we have all that, it goes, you know, not we, but the board gets to do that. Well, that's just my own opinion.
Chairman Seder, if I may just offer respectfully a couple of things. First of all, the mismanagement that has taken place at Sursum Quarter. Sursum Quarter is 50 years old. The mismanagement that you're referring to was long before the present leadership.
And I'm not saying no, I'm not saying that that's...
The other thing I want to note is that the Boys and Girls Club does have a board of directors, and they're active. I would, you know, to the extent that we have this, you know, we have further discussions about this, I would invite someone at the ANC to kind of be involved in seeing how the money.
Antonio can be involved. He's right there with the family.
Right.
And so
But
and Frida.
Yeah.
So
This
my
is a
my
resource directly impacted.
my thing is, like, when you speaking the truth, other people might not see the truth that you see. I'm around Sursum Quarter every day. I have kids that don't go to school that I deal with. So Sursum Quarter has its own life. And I'm trying to change that with the new Sursum Quarter. Stop talking about the old Sursum Quarter. That history goes on forever. But we have a chance to change the image of the kids and to put the programs that's not there. Prairie deal with small kids. They don't deal with at-risk kids. When we did the package, we looked all around as far as the impact of that neighborhood from Noma to Mount Vernon. So this ain't gonna just be closed to Sursum Quarter families. Like I said before,
Northwest one.
it's something that has not been done. The community runs that club. We have a board of former board members been with the club, the original Boys Club, when the city ran. So they are 80 and some of them are older. But the point I'm making is for us to have a position to help and not look like we reaching out because this place ain't getting that much. Prairie has its own fundraising tool, most like the rec center. So it's not like we not gonna work with them, But we still have to make our community viable and to stop the killing, the robbery, and whatever else that everybody always run back to Searson Quarter. So we do have some issues, just like all the other areas. So my thing is, I feel it's a good number. So my thing is, we can get some committee people, I don't have no problem with that. But just to
From the
say,
commission.
just to say I want to tag down and put the money everywhere, because most of my members, I don't think go up near Shiloh.
I'm
But
just
they
saying,
go, they
I was
go,
just throwing that out as a sample, that
Yes,
was
ma'am.
not a, I'm just saying there are lots and lots of organizations within,
but what
that,
do they do for our
well,
neighbors?
there's also the McKenna House, that wasn't mentioned, there's Central Union Mission, but I'm just saying that I would like to see those books, because if you're using this as a main fundraiser, this 200,
No, I'm not doing
that, there's something wrong with your regular fundraising,
No,
so.
ma'am, we have a board that's already established with funds, but every little bit helps.
Yeah, but that's a significant, I'm just saying, that's just my opinion, and they would
Okay.
think there'd be some, spreading out, that just seems like too much, so. And I'll be happy to look at your books, so.
So,
Would it help if
the principle,
Oh, I'll
part of the
look at the
board?
books.
yeah, the,
Wouldn't it help that?
We would welcome.
I mean, I'm about to say, wouldn't it help if, because 6 EO7 and 6 EO6, I mean, who knows how long we gonna be in this position? But, I mean, I guess, it would be help if someone sat on the board with them.
I don't mind.
I mean,
Matter
just
of
to-
fact, I got a board meeting tomorrow morning, I can bring it up.
Okay.
So I don't have an issue with that.
That's, I mean, it'll be great.
Okay.
I mean, just to.
so I think it's an important principle that the community benefits from any PUD be directed to the benefit of the most impacted residents. And just like when we had a PUD at City Market and at Jefferson Jefferson Marketplace, previously Kelsey Gardens, the focus was always on making sure that those community benefits were serving the folks that were in closest proximity to those projects. I would, I'd be happy to yield the floor to you in a moment. But the suggestion that we spread out the benefits to the entire commission area is obscene.
I don't think Mark
obscene.
meant that, Alex, I'm just saying that